Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking time to watch me as I do this learning, teaching, interaction assignment. And as I review a lot of what I've been learning throughout the book so far and just throughout my major. I apologize in advance for any potential glitches that may take place, and also for any poorly said phrases or anything on my end. I don't have a lot of time, and so I've got to give this one run. And so I just hope for the best, that it turns out. So just starting with chapter 1 from the book, was impressed by something that I was reminded of from Family 150, Introduction to the Marriage and Family course, about how family life education is it's different than most forms of education. You can't sit down and compare it to what a classroom setting is like in the public school system, because they're different. And one thing that stood out to me from other classes that I've taken is in psychology, and then also in child advocacy, you learn about the different sociological levels within a society. You learn about the micro, you learn about the meso, and the macro. And in macro, surprisingly, is actually on the community and the school level, while micro deals with individuals and families, which is where family life education puts its focus. It was very interesting. Something that kind of puts more light on what we're doing. Education is all about teaching the individual and adjusting to that. If it's with groups of individuals, then the exact same thing. You try to adjust to each person that you're teaching. Family life education is also different, quite different than other forms of family services. It's different than family therapy and family case management in goals and techniques and in methods. They all have similar values, which is upholding families and educating families, but it's done in different ways. Family life education is focused on helping families develop new skills and refining attitudes. And later on in chapter 2, we learn that it's a form of prevention, preventing major forms of dysfunction, or trying to moderate those dysfunctions within a family. Whereas family therapy is focused on what happens if prevention wasn't possible, or if no preventive actions were taken. And so it's focused on repairing families. And then family casework is focused on complying with legal and policy systems. So just a brief background on family life education. It had big movements that started in the 1800s that were attempted at the macro level. There were self-help books that emerged in the 1800s. And from there, multiple programs were started. A few of the bigger ones, one in 1914, when Congress created the Cooperative Extension System. And they did that through the Smith-Lever Act, which Woodrow Wilson said the system was one of the most significant and far-reaching measures adults ever adopted by the government. And so even political leaders have seen a need for the family to be upheld in the past. I found this interesting because in Family 100, we learn about, I believe it was Harold B. Lee or David O. McKay, that said that the greatest work one can do is within the walls of their own home. And so here we have evidence of political leaders, regardless of their political ideologies, and religious leaders within the church, both putting emphasis on the family. And then there are others, but I don't have time to get to them, but they will be in my outline. Next, I want to talk about a few of the varied approaches of family life education. And they all have their own strengths that really benefit different types of people in different situations. The first is the expert approach, which is more of a liberal approach. It kind of believes that the subject matter authorities are the family life educators, and they are the ones that that teach, and they teach highly structured curricula. There's the facilitator approach, which seeks to teach to the needs and flow of the group with a problem-solving approach. So it's like on the opposite end of the spectrum. They don't see themselves as the master teacher. They see themselves as people who can facilitate conversations and facilitate the education for all. Then there's the critical inquirer approach, which seeks to involve the group through inquiry. Is a little bit more straightforward than just facilitating. There's the collaborator approach, which is kind of a mix of expert and facilitating approaches. It just kind of tries to balance both depending on for that particular group. Then there's the interventionist approach, which expects learning to go beyond just knowing, and they want it to be something that families begin to live following and following the program. And so they really seek to bring application into then there's the eclectic approach, which varies depending on the situation and acknowledges that may serve different values. So that's just a summary of chapter 1. It's kind of extensive. Hangouts doesn't tell me how long I've been on here. I'll try to go through the other chapters as quick as I can. Chapter 19, it focuses on 5 things that we can do to help family life education to expand and improve, because it's a growing field. There are many families that are in taking their family to new levels of success and harmony. And but in order for that to happen, there are 5 things that need to occur. Professionalism needs to take place. The program rigor needs to be refined, and program also needs to be more program effectiveness. So there needs to be more effective teaching and also application. And then we can do a better job at marketing. And then the last one is reaching the neediest audiences, which I thought was very interesting, that there are some audiences that aren't even getting close to the knowledge that that they could. And I feel like that's where the biggest problem is we need to reach out to audiences that are in the biggest need. And just a quick turnaround back to Family 100. The Family Proclamation emphasizes the imperative nature of defending the family. And in the last line of the proclamation, on calling upon responsible citizens to promote family values, is I interpret that to mean that things along these 5 that are mentioned in this chapter, in chapter 19, that can help us to be more responsible in our efforts to educate families. And then chapter 2 was all about prevention, and how that's kind of the main focus of family life education, is preventing the problem before it goes out of control and destroys a family. And so it breaks it up into 5. It has a comprehensive model that breaks up prevention into 5 different stages. The first is problem analysis, which is identifying the problems that your target audience experiences and considering what theories in family most greatly apply to them. Finding ways to teach conducive to that target audience, because every target audience is different, and so it requires brainstorming how exactly you're going to be teaching them. Stage 2 is program design, so just investigating the needs of your target audience. Stage 3 is pilot testing, which is just kind of like giving trial runs and trying to and making it as authentic as you can. So really this class is pilot testing, to put it simply. Stage 4 is advanced testing. So it's going on to more professional settings. We could easily take the workshop or the education that we learn in this class, and we could make it into something professional. That's what stage 4 is. Dissemination, which is continuing the program and making refinements and preparing to take your program further and expand to more people. So I get the feeling that I've spent a lot longer on here than I was supposed to. I'm sorry that I didn't keep track in the beginning, but I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen. I did not do the chapter after chapter 2 that we were supposed to. I just haven't gotten to the reading yet in this week. But I really do appreciate you guys all taking the time to listen, feedback. And so thank you so much.